I feel bad for the guys that wasn't able to win the world that really deserved it. I was very blessed, and I thank God every day that I was able to do it. But if it wasn't for Danny and Robert and Craig, it never would have happened.
I can't see you as a bulldogger.
Yeah, well, I loved it.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with it. I spent more time on the end of the pen with my head hanging through the wall, probably, you know. When I rolled off of that horse there at Houston, when I was walking back, I was done. I mean, there wasn't no part of me wanted another one. So when you know it, you know it, you know, and that was it.
That's why he's got 5 gold buckles.
No better than a bucking horse. You don't have to wait on the shoulder. You can help me.
Hi everyone, I'm Jeff Metters. Welcome to Bullseye. Over the course of my lifetime, I've seen some great sports dynasties. The Steel Curtain, the Lakers, the Celtics. But my favorite in pro rodeo may be the Etbauer brothers, Danny, Robert, and Billy. Together they qualified for 43 trips to the NFR, won 7 world titles, and made history as the first trio of brothers ever to qualify for the NFR. And while Robert and Danny were very successful, it was Billy who proved to be rare. 21 trips to the NFR, 5 world titles, and every time he rode at the Thomas and Mack Center, he held everybody in the palm of his hand. Our conversation begins on the early days, and while they would go on to make millions, when they first started out, things were pretty lean. All right, let's talk rodeo economics. And the story's pretty famous about you, Robert, Danny, and then Craig Latham, who traveled with you. He's kind of like your other brother, so your brother from another mother, I guess. But you pooled your money. Tell me how all that worked out.
Yeah. Well, basically all of us were broke, and you know, it seems like if you're rodeoing by yourself, if you're broke, you're staying home. And then, you know, with having 4 of us going all the time, it seemed like, you know, there was hopefully somebody's always winning. I don't know if anybody had any more fun than we did, you know, because we were loving what we were doing, and everybody, we all got along good, you know, and especially once we got to where we were buddying 4, you know, at first it was just me and Craig, Robert and Danny. Then as soon as we could buddy 4, then it was a lot better, because it's pretty hard for 2 guys going down the road and driving all night and all day and getting to the next one, but 4 of it's pretty leisure life.
Like the first rodeo socialist. At what point in time did you say, you know what I win is mine and what you win is yours? When did that point come?
Robert and Danny both went to the finals in '88, and so kind of after we made the finals in '89, then everybody just felt that they could kind of stand on their own legs, and you know, fortunate enough that everybody was able to do that. You know, it getting started is I guess is the main thing, but being able to keep 4 of us together and keep everybody in that top 15 is just a big blessing, and just more fun than you can shake a stick at. So.
You know, starting that way, you look at what you've done. You won $1 million at just the Wrangler NFR alone on 21 trips there. $3 million in one event. As you were pooling money and trying to get from point A to point B, did you ever even dream that would be the end result?
Well, I couldn't. I wish I could tell you I could have that $3 million in my pocket right now. To be able to make that kind of money, to be able to make a living, you know, riding broncs is just a blessing, because you're a small percentage of people that are really able to make a living doing what they love to do like that. So I just feel blessed to be able to have that much fun and do what you love to do and be able to make a living doing it.
Robert won the world in '90. You came to the NFR in 1991 in the top spot in the world. And you know, the chatter, I think that was the first year I did the NFR. And the whole chatter was Billy Etbauer he's gonna rock everybody's world. And then Robert wins like 2 or 3 rounds to start the NFR and wins his 2nd straight world championship. How competitive were you guys? I mean, I know you rooted for him, but what are your memories there? You feel like you let one get away, or?
Well, I mean, you could say that in a sense, but I didn't. You know, our team deal, I mean, it didn't matter to us if it was Robert, Danny, or Craig. I mean, it didn't matter. You know, we were one for all and all for one, and if there was anything that we could do to help the other one get to that point, you know, but it's just like that of being able to pool that money and stay together. You know, it's the same thing with that world title, that if I didn't get it, thank God Robert got it, or, you know, or if it could have been Craig, or if it could have been Danny, you know, if I was going to change anything, you know, I'd like to give Danny and Craig both a world title too, because I feel they deserved it, you know,
and you'd still have 3.
Well, you know, know, one's a blessing, and you can't say enough about what they mean, you know, but I feel bad for the guys that wasn't able to win the world, that really deserved it, you know. But if it wasn't for Danny and Robert and Craig, it never would have happened. Like, Craig entered me from basically day one. Craig was entering me, and I think I maybe entered 2 rodeos my whole life, and after that he wouldn't let me do it anymore, you know, because I wasn't, you know, he was just the man for the job. And even when Robert, Danny, Craig, they all quit, and Craig still was entering me, you know. So that team is what got me to that point of being able to do that.
When we come back, Billy talks about the great bronc Cool Alley. These two made history together a couple of times.
You know, yeah, it was very pumped, and it's that perfect scenario, and you just hope you come out on the top when you get all done.
Bullseye is brought to you by Cinch Jeans and Shirts. One year during the NFR, I was invited to speak at a national teachers convention, and they wanted me to bring a rodeo cowboy with me. So I brought Danny Etbauer. All right, I strong-armed Danny Etbauer into going with me. Turns out he's way more afraid of public speaking than he is the rankest broncs on the planet. The Etbauers are humble and they're shy. Now imagine how Billy felt when he was invited to New York City to be on the David Letterman show. One year you got to go do David Letterman show. What was that experience like?
It was awesome. I was scared to death. I just I wouldn't be one to go try to match wits with David Letterman or anybody for that matter. And yeah, I was scared to death, and it was right before the finals, and you know, and I've watched David a lot, you know, and I kind of knew, and you know, I've talked to guys, you know, and how much he was into the rodeo and all that, and I was definitely scared, but I felt that he really took care of me, and you know, I flew in there, spent the night, did the show, and flew out the next day, and he was great, and I guess thankfully that I just didn't sound too much like an idiot, and so it went good. I was happy that it went like it did, but yeah, I was scared to death, and it's good.
Great bronc riders, they need great broncs, and you're kind of tied forever with Cool Alley. Talk about the first time you marked 93 on that mare.
Well, I guess another one, just glad to be able to make the whistle. Just a big old stout thing, and I don't feel my ride was as good the first one as the second one, you know, but kind of the build up for the second one was a lot more than the first one, and you know, but like that, it was still just a blessing to be able to make the whistle and be able to go ahead and try to do it again next year, you know. So but like the record deal, I was a little shocked this year that it even hung on. I knew they were gonna blow it out of the water this year, so I'm amazed it's still there.
I'll be really honest, it's confession time. In the 2004 ride on Cool Alley, I was rooting for you. I want to see you win the world again. And I think that Butch Knowles and I sat there and held our breath every jump, every jump. I mean, what was it like in the saddle?
It was like that. I probably wasn't breathing either. You know, to have horse of the year and like that, having to ride him, you know, when you're not gonna, at least me for sure, I'm not gonna be able to just get by, and you know, and it was right there at the whistle and the whole bit, you know, so, and he really bucked, and and I would just kind of kept going at him with what I could. You know, yeah, it was very pumped, and it's that perfect scenario, and you just hope you come out on the top when you get all done.
You won 51 go-rounds. You won 21 consecutive years. You won 50 go-rounds, 51 go-rounds. Where are all those buckles? That's a lot of trips to the after party. That's a lot of go-round buckles, and those are really coveted too.
Yeah, no, they're you know, I'd have to really get to start gathering them up to really know for sure where they're at. You know, through the years, I've given one to somebody or what have you, that, you know, I expect one day that they'll come back. You know, I didn't just give them away. You know, I don't remember who I give them to, but you know that they'll get them back to you in the long run, or back to family, I should say. But you know, they're around somewhere, and if somebody's got one, you know, as long as they're enjoying it, you know, that's the main thing, because it was everybody's help between mom and dad and the sisters, brothers, friends, relatives, everybody. It took all that to make it worth it, you know. So
when we start the Etbauer Museum, we're going to have to get all those back, by the way. So. When we come back, we'll get a glimpse of what Billy's life's like today, and it still involves horses, family, and a lot of time in the saddle.
Well, we were at Denver, and I think I was in the front chute. Robert, I don't know, he come from the other side anyway. He rode his horse, and he kind of bucking out around there, and the horse wasn't real good, just kind of scattering around there from what I kind of remember. Robert just kind of rolled off him and hung his foot, and so when he didn't drag under there very long, he was just there a fraction of a second, and anyway, then we just seen him, and he's just fussing around there in the dirt or something, you know, and he kind of waves to him a little bit. He wants something. We're just thinking, like, you know, what could you be looking for? Anyway, pretty soon he picks something up, you know, and then he comes walking down there, and I'm right by that chute where he's got to go out of there, you know, and then he's holding, he's got his thumb in his hand, you know, and like, oh, so I still had to ride, but, you know, so I rode and then go back and check on him, but, you know, there's not much you can do anyway but that. But yeah, it was, you'd have thought it was a team roping day, I guess.
What blew me away about it is I picked up the Pro Rodeo Sports News, and I read the story. And I mean, I literally started laughing because Robert said, well, it was the dangest thing.
Yeah, the dangest thing.
Who starts a story about losing their thumb with that right there? And he's like, I could have flopped around and yelled, nobody would have cared. I just picked up my thumb and just walked out. So 51 go-round buckles, so at least 10 of them are round 10.
Yeah,
which is pretty incredible.
Yeah,
because that's like that's the premier night. They're just the very best are out in round 10, and that's a pretty cool display right there. So we know where 10 of those buckles are.
yeah, we just got to see.
Yeah, the 41.
I don't
41. We don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know how many 10th go arounds there really are, but yeah, they're. I guess you just hope every year that you get to the finals. Hopefully you can come home with one buckle, you know, no matter what it is. But you know, so yeah, I was very, very fortunate with it.
You hear a lot about the Salinas buckle. Is there a rodeo you think that has the best buckle out there that they give away?
Well, I love the Salinas buckle. I mean, like that Cheyenne buckle. It eluded me for 21 years, you know, and then got lucky enough to get one of those. So whether I think the buckle is nice as the other one, you know, when you get all done, it was just a blessing to be able to win that rodeo. And then when you get all done, is how much that rodeo pays you to be able to just keep going forward and being able to make a living doing it.
The day we were there, we got a little taste of Billy's ranch life. We rode along as he drove in about 150 recip mares. I grew up driving in cattle. Horses, that's a completely different experience, but hey, this guy's a cowboy. If you had to pick another event in rodeo, you couldn't be a saddle bronc rider, what would it be?
Oh, Oh, golly, I don't know if
Because you're built for like a bull rider.
yeah, well, I could deal with the bulls, or at least when in my younger years to be able, I was riding steers, and when they went from riding the steers to the bulls, then I got a yellow streak for those horns on those bulls, and like Robert and Danny, they rode them through college, but me, I was never, I did the bareback riding, bulldogging, and team roping, calf roping, I did all that, but the bulls wouldn't have been one of them. Bareback, the bareback riding, I used to love it, really. One of those blessings in disguises that, I hung up and broke my wrist, and then my bronc riding come on, so it was, I guess, history from there on out. But I don't know if I could pick another event.
I can't see you as a bulldogger.
Yeah, well, I loved it.
Yeah?
I had a lot of fun with it. I spent more time on the end of the pen with my head hanging through the wall, probably, but there are a lot of steers, they was dragging me to the end. But if I got a little light cow or something, I could kind of halfway handle it. But yeah, I liked it, just jumping off those horses and that. I like it all. I like to do it all, but I'm a master of none and just play with it all. Yeah. So.
How much you enjoy like days like today where you get to work with your family and gather horses and do things down that line? And
living the cowboy life is more than a blast to me. If a guy can do it this day and age, it's sure a lot of fun.
During his incredible career, there wasn't a single saddle bronc that Billy Etbauer couldn't get the best of. But there was one opponent he was not going to win against. That was Father Time.
I'm just not sure I'm not catching the hint that I need to quit, because it was just like, man, I'm getting too old for this,
For nearly a decade, we saw all three Etbauer brothers qualify in saddle bronc riding at the NFR. But Robert and Danny hung it up early, and Billy had to make an adjustment from being one of the band to just a solo act.
You went to 21 straight NFRs. What was it like after Robert and Dan retired, and pretty soon you were kind of the lone survivor there? Still fun?
Well, yeah, I mean, I love to go ride broncs, and like that. By that time, you kind of had family all over the U.S., Canada. I mean, it really didn't matter where I went. There was always somebody that was there, and I always had fun. But when with Holly at the house taking care of the kids, and I was always ready to get back home, so I wasn't going to very many rodeos. By the time I got to that, I was going 30, 40 rodeos, and I'd fly out and I'd fly back in, and and I always had somebody that was helping me, and I trusted all of them, and it was just great. But there's just nothing like having a teammate that's right there with you all day, all night, and everything. It's I don't like being by myself. I've been by myself a lot through the years, but I don't like being by myself. So if there's somebody there that can pick me up at the airport or do whatever, I'm into being around with somebody. But it was fun.
You were almost 42 when you won your last world championship. When did you start thinking about retirement? We didn't want you to retire, but because you were great television and such a great cowboy. How did the whole retirement thing work out in your head?
Well, I'd been ready to quit for years, really, probably by rights. I got bucked off of a colt at the house, and I kind of messed my neck up, and I don't remember what year this was. It would have been in like 03 or something like that. And so I'd go out, I got healed up, and I went out and started rodeoing, and I had a horse lawn dart me, and I went back home for 3 weeks, and get back out there and start rodeoing, and I land on my head again, and I go back home for 3 weeks. And this happened like 3 or 4 times in a row, where I just get on 2, 3, and I was back home. And I don't know who it was that I talked to, and I said, I'm just not sure I'm not catching the hint that I need to quit, because it was just like, man, I'm getting too old for this, And anyway, that guy, whoever that was, and I didn't think I was getting the hint that ought to be done. He said, "Oh no, you'll know." when it's your time, you'll know. And so I just took his word for it, and you know, then I was lucky enough to win the world in '04. So, and that was after the fact, you know. So, thank God I kept it going, you know, for another year. But so kind of from that point forward, really I was ready. But up till the time that I rolled off of that horse at Houston, and I kind of messed my shoulder up, a big part of, I guess, me is not just being a bronc rider or being a cowboy of being able to go to the pasture, rope a cow, you know, go and doctor the kids, go